Let's get started. Number 6. Crying when you're overwhelmed, not just sad. You get a compliment so unexpected, or finish a task so exhausting, that your eyes just start leaking, and you're standing there thinking, why am I like this? Nothing bad even happened. Crying isn't only a sadness reaction, it's an emotional overflow valve. When your nervous system gets flooded, whether from joy, relief, frustration, or sheer exhaustion, your body sometimes defaults to tears as a way to physically discharge that buildup. It's basically a pressure release system, like a kettle whistling, because it can't hold the steam in anymore. Emotional tears actually contain different chemical compositions than the tears you get from cutting an onion, including stress hormones, meaning your body is quite literally crying out the tension. This is why people cry at weddings, graduations, and surprise birthday parties, situations that are objectively happy but emotionally intense enough to overload the system anyway. Your brain doesn't really distinguish between too much good and too much bad, it just knows the tank is full and needs draining. So if you've ever burst into tears during a Pixar movie and felt embarrassed about it, don't be. Your tear ducts are just doing basic emotional plumbing, and honestly, that's more self-aware than most people manage on a daily basis. Number 5. Talking to objects like they're people. You stub your toe on the coffee table and immediately yell at it like it personally betrayed you. Why are you even there? The table does not respond, and yet somehow you feel like you won that argument. This is called anthropomorphism, and your brain does it constantly, assigning intention, emotion, and personality to things that have absolutely none. It's not a glitch, it's actually an evolutionary shortcut. Your brain evolved to detect intention quickly, because for most of human history, figuring out whether that rustling bush was wind or predator was a survival skill. The problem is that this detection system is a little overzealous, so it fires even when the threat is an inanimate coffee table that clearly did nothing wrong. People do this with cars, naming them, printers, cursing them out like they have feelings, and old laptops, apologizing to them before restarting. It's why yelling at your Wi-Fi router feels emotionally satisfying, even though the router has never once cared about your opinion. Basically, your brain would rather treat the world as full of tiny personalities than accept that sometimes things just break for no reason. So, when you find yourself negotiating with a vending machine that ate your dollar, know that you're not unhinged. You're just running several million years of pattern recognition software on hardware that was never designed for microwaves. Number 4. Remembering embarrassing moments from years ago at 3 a.m. You're lying in bed, minding your own business, completely relaxed, when suddenly your brain pulls up a memory from 2012 where you waved back at someone who was actually waving at the person behind you. Nothing triggered it, no warning, just a full HD replay of your most cringeworthy moment, delivered at maximum volume right as you're trying to fall asleep. This phenomenon doesn't even have an official catchy name, but psychologists refer to it under the umbrella of intrusive autobiographical memories, and it happens because your brain uses quiet, low-stimulation moments to sort through unresolved emotional files. During the day, you're too busy to fully process embarrassment, so your brain shelves it. Then, at night, when there's nothing else competing for attention, it drags the file back out to finish processing it. Except, processing usually just means replaying it on a loop while your face gets hot in the dark. Some researchers believe this is tied to memory consolidation, the same system that helps you learn and retain information, just malfunctioning slightly by prioritizing shame over anything actually useful. So no, you're not broken, your brain just has terrible time management, filing your most humiliating moments under urgent instead of delete permanently, which honestly should have been an option from the start. Number 3. No mental images. Try picturing an apple in your mind right now. If you can basically see it, red, shiny, sitting there in your imagination, that's normal for most people. But roughly 1 in 50 people close their eyes and get absolutely nothing, just darkness, no apple, no image, no nothing. This is called aphantasia, and the people who have it often don't even realize it's unusual until they're adults, because how do you know your imagination is different from someone else's? You can't exactly compare mental screenshots. Scientists believe aphantasia isn't a disorder so much as a different wiring configuration between the visual cortex and the frontal lobe, the area responsible for constructing mental imagery. People with aphantasia can still understand what an apple looks like conceptually, they just can't generate a picture of it internally. It's like knowing the plot of a movie without being able to actually watch it. Weirdly, some people with aphantasia report incredibly vivid dreams, meaning their brain can produce images, just not on command while awake. So if you've ever described a memory and someone said, "Wait," You don't see it happening, and you had no idea what they meant. You might be running a slightly different operating system than everyone else, one with excellent logic and zero built-in Photoshop. Number 2. Talking to yourself out loud. You're standing in your kitchen, narrating your own actions like a nature documentary. Okay, where did I put the keys? Not there either. If someone walked in right now, they'd assume you're either losing it or auditioning for a one-person play. Relax. Science actually backs you up here. Self-directed speech, the fancy term for talking to yourself, activates the same brain regions involved in planning and self-control. Basically, your brain uses your own voice as a GPS system, narrating tasks to keep you focused and on track. Studies have shown that people who talk through a task out loud actually perform better on it than people who stay silent. It's like your brain doesn't fully trust your inner thoughts to get the job done, so it recruits your mouth as backup. Kids do this constantly before it becomes internalized in adulthood, except some of us just never got the memo to keep it internal. So if you've ever caught yourself giving a pep talk to a jar of pickles you can't open, congratulations, your prefrontal cortex is just doing its job a little too publicly. It's not weird, it's optimization. Your brain figured out that hearing instructions is more effective than just thinking them, so it turned you into your own personal assistant. The pickles still won though. Some problems even peak cognitive function can't solve. Number 1. Feeling like you're being watched, even when you're alone. You're home alone, doing absolutely nothing suspicious, and yet you suddenly feel like eyes are on you from somewhere in the room. You check the window, nothing. You check the hallway, also, nothing. But the feeling doesn't leave, because your brain didn't actually need real evidence to trigger it in the first place. This sensation comes from something called gaze detection, a survival mechanism buried in your visual and threat processing systems that evolved to catch predators watching you from the bushes. The problem is that this system is set to hair trigger sensitivity, meaning it goes off from shadows, peripheral movement, or honestly, nothing at all. Just your nervous system, running a background check for danger even when there's no danger to check. Some studies suggest this feeling spikes when you're in unfamiliar environments or slightly anxious states, because your brain figures better safe than eaten by a tiger, even though the last tiger-related incident in your neighborhood was approximately 0. So when you feel like something's watching you in an empty house, that's not a ghost, that's not a haunting. That's just several 100,000 years of evolution refusing to update its threat software for modern apartment living. Your ancestors survived by being paranoid. You're just stuck with the paranoia and none of the tigers. That's all for today's video. If you enjoyed it, be sure to subscribe.